Honorable Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Shri Manish Tiwari ji, President of ASSOCHAM, Shri Uday Kumar Varma ji, Shri Purkayastha, two very, very eminent people from the Indian film world, very legendary director, Shri Basu Chatterjee, and Shri Ram Naidu ji, and very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me, to begin with, very sincerely compliment ASSOCHAM for this initiative. We have been talking about convergence of various platforms and various ways in which media has developed. But I think it looks like a very concrete effort to bring all these streams together. Media, entertainment, telecom, and social media. I think each one of them in their own right are extremely, extremely important. And there is a strong need and lot of effort actually to make sure that we are able to really maximize the convergence of all these four modes in the national interest. So, therefore, to begin with, let me very, very warmly compliment ASSOCHAM and the organizers for this very important initiative. We are here to really hear the Minister. I'll be extremely brief on some of the initiatives that the Ministry has taken. But let me begin with the cinema. I think if you follow the evolution of Indian cinema, beginning from 1913, when the first silent film was made by a very, very radical man for those times, Dada Saheb Phalke. There are I discern, or I able to make out at least 5 distinct areas in which tremendous change has taken place. Beginning with the art of filmmaking, the technology, I think from the silent to talkie, to black and white, to now color and 3D, I think the whole range of technologies. And the good thing is that the Indian cinema has been able to adopt these technologies without much of time gap. Today, we can say with full conviction that the Indian cinema film industry is in terms of technology ahead of most of the countries, and maybe just a few notches behind Hollywood. I think it is time that we caught up with Hollywood in terms of technology and the art of filmmaking. But this is one area which is very, very discernible. The second one is, again, in terms of financing. I think gone are the days when independent filmmakers actually called the shot. Till 50s or till even 60s, even till 70s, let's say, this is mostly there will be some big individuals and mostly independent filmmakers who actually would be in the business of production of Indian cinema. Today, it is largely corporate houses. Not only Indian corporate houses, but multinational corporate houses. Warner Brothers, Sony Pictures, 20th Century Fox, UTV. I mean, that whole range of large players who are in the business of making films. So they are investing in Indian films, and fortunately, so the Indians are also making investment in Hollywood, in making films over there. So this is the second very paradigm change which has taken place. How do we really leverage it to our advantage is something which we need to really think about. The third one is in the business of distribution. If you recall, earlier the celluloid films were made, you had to make prints, and then the prints were reached to various cinema theaters. And if you were able to make about 100 prints, it was considered a very, very big thing. When I think one of the films made more than 1,000 films, maybe Savari or some about 3-4 years ago, it made about 1,200 or 1,400 prints. It was a big news. Today, I think increasingly the digital cinema, which means that you don't need to really make celluloid prints. You just need to upload it, uplink it, and downlink it in the theater. This infusion of technology has very, very positive manifestations. And one big manifestation for this technology is that it is going to really mitigate piracy to a very large extent. Piracy takes place because you have more demand and less supply. If you are able to really see films across the country on a digital platform, then there will be absolutely much less scope for piracy than what exists today. So on the business of distribution also, there has been a good deal of change. Promotion, those days of cinema posters which you used to see on the walls, and even in 50s, 60s, you know, the people would propagate or promote a film and announce the release of a film through loudspeakers, public announcements, etc. All those are gone. They were followed by, you know, radio programs when the films used to, if you, those of us 60s, 70s, those are the days. Today, the film promotion is entirely new genre, often controversial also. So that is another change which has taken place. And lastly, in terms of exhibition, from single theaters to multiplexes, it has completely changed the complexion of how films are being exhibited. What I'm going to say is that these changes in 100 years have been phenomenal. Fortunately, we have been on the forefront of each one of these. But new opportunities, backed by new technologies, they are coming up. And it is for all of us sitting together here to really deliberate as to how we can really leverage them. How do we see Indian cinema emerging in next 20 years, 25 years, 50 years, or how do we really see, let's say, 2113 in terms of the evolution of Indian cinema. So that would be a very, very interesting exercise to do. This is the 100 years of Indian cinema, the centenary year, and there's a large number of initiatives that the ministry has taken. Most of you know about it, but I'd like to mention just the two. One would, of course, be about setting up a film commission, and we are at a very advanced stage in this endeavor, and under the guidance of our Honorable Minister, I hope we should be able to really set it up in next few months. This will be another big change from the government side, because one of the major impediments that the filmmakers have expressed is the difficulty in getting clearances from a plethora of agencies. Somebody made a calculation that they need about 35 to 40 permissions if somebody who wants to make a film in India from outside, who is coming from outside. So the effort of the government is to make sure that this process is actually as smooth and as hassle-free as possible. And this commission will work as a single window clearance mechanism, which I think will be extremely a positive step and a great help to people who want to really make films in India. It's high time that India as a film destination is recognized globally. It is not the case at this point of time. On digitization, I mean, we have successfully implemented the first phase. The second phase, which means digitizing all cities having more than a population of 1 million, which means about 38 cities. This process is underway. And the good news is that around 60% of digitization in these 38 cities on an average has already taken place. Actually, there are 4 cities which have already digitized to the extent of 100%. We are hopeful that with the help of all the stakeholders, the MSOs, the cable operators, the consumers, and the broadcasters, we should be able to really fulfill this very, very ambitious target of completing the second phase of digitization. And that will pave the way for digitization for the entire country. In fact, it is my conviction that we are inevitably, hurtling towards 2014, where the country will be fully digitized. 150 plus million televisions in this country. Out of that, 140 are cable and satellite, 140 million. We have digitized to the extent of roughly 40%. About 10 million were digitized in the first phase, about 16 million will be digitized in the second phase, and there are existing digitalized TV homes. So I think this is going to really be a big, big game changer, and it is said that digitization of analog cable is perhaps the biggest thing which has happened to Indian television industry since cable was introduced in 1991. And I think the spin-off effect, the impact of digitization is becoming evident by the day. And I believe at least 3 areas there is a visible shift, the visible change that you can see. One is, of course, in the area of sampling, because I think the whole rating business is going to be impacted in a very positive manner when full digitization takes place. The second one is, of course, the criticality of differentiation. Any news channel perhaps may not do very well. It has to have some USP. Any music channel, for instance, may not do as well. It has to have some USP. So this differentiation, and thirdly, the long tail of content, where you can actually see a program. You don't have to watch TV in real time. You can see a program at any place, at any time. So this long tail, as we put it, as a long tail of content, has offered tremendous potential and opportunities, which I'm sure the stakeholders will be quick to seize, and that would initiate the process of changes. And I think the ultimate aim of digitization is to bring about complete transparency, which is good for everybody, good for industry, good for government, good for consumer, and good for our image across the world. So this is the present scene as far as digitization is concerned. We are upbeat and very, very confident that we should be able to really put through this whole extremely revolutionary process of digitization. I must remind you that we have been able to do this at the shortest possible time. It's a record of a kind, because nowhere in the world, no country in the world has been able to really do it in such a short time and without any hassles. Lastly, on social media, I think our ministry is, in fact, has been galvanized by our new minister. I think the kind of energy and the kind of purpose that he has brought ever since he had joined has been really amazing. And we have taken lots of initiatives on social media. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on blog. We have a very successful YouTube channel. I'm sure many of you must have visited it. It is one of the more visited and frequented YouTube channel, which offers a variety of content. It's not only news, it's entertainment, it's your archives, which is offered through this platform of YouTube. So there have been many initiatives, and many more initiatives are on the anvil. And under his guidance, under his leadership, I think we should be able to really take some extremely major steps as far as social media is concerned. I will just like to end up with leaving one thought with you, and I have full endorsement and backing of my minister on this. And this is that the time has come actually to think about India as the global digital hub. We have a large concentration of teleports. So in terms of hardware, we already are emerging as a hub. But I think this whole concept has to be taken in on a much wider scale. We have all qualifications and all the essentials that is required to create as a global hub. The point is, how do we, the government and the industry, are able to sit together and work on it. I think if we are done, I think this will be a tremendous kind of a contribution which we should be able to make to the growth of this great country. This, of course, will require a little bit of thinking, a lateral thinking perhaps, out-of-the-box thinking, but I'm quite sure that the people in this country are quite capable of thinking and taking a road which is not frequently taken. Let me end by quoting what Robert Frost had written in a poem, The Road Not Taken. And it says that I shall be saying this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. I shall be saying this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in the wood. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you very much.